The three-act structure explains simply the blueprint every novel needs. Every story you have ever loved follows the same basic shape, not the same plot, not the same characters, or setting or genre, but the same underlying shape, a structure so fundamental that when it is missing, readers feel it even if they can't name it. Today I am going to show you that structure, explain why it works, and give you a practical way to use it for whatever you are writing. Welcome back to the Story Forge. We've talked about why novels fail and how to build memorable characters. Today is the architecture episode, the plot structure that ties everything together. This is going to be practical. Let's go. A lot of writers resist talking about structure. It feels like a formula. Like following a template means your story can't be original. Here is the thing. Structure isn't a cage. It is a skeleton. You don't look at a person and say, your skeleton makes you look like everyone else. The skeleton is what lets the person move. The skin, the muscle, the expression. That is what makes them unique. Structure works the same way. The three-act structure doesn't make stories feel the same. It is the invisible framework that lets stories feel complete. When a story doesn't have it, when Act 2 has no real escalation, or the ending comes out of nowhere, or the protagonist never truly changes, readers feel cheated without being able to explain why. So let's build the skeleton. Act 1 has one job. Establish the world, introduce the protagonist, and then break that world open. It usually covers the first 15 to 20% of your story. 3 things need to happen here. First, we meet your protagonist in their normal world. Not an exciting world. Not a world already in crisis. Their everyday reality. So we understand what is about to be disrupted. Second, we see their wound and their flaw in action. Before anything goes wrong, we need to understand who this person is and what is broken in them, because Act 2 is going to test exactly that. Third, the inciting incident. The thing that happens that makes the normal world impossible to return to. The crime is discovered. The letter arrives. The accident happens. The world changes, and your protagonist is pulled into the story whether they want to be or not. Act 1 ends when your protagonist commits to the journey. They make a choice. To investigate, to fight, to pursue, to run. Everything before that choice is set up. Everything after is story. Act 2 is where most novels break down. It is the longest section, roughly 60% of the story. And it is where writers who don't have a plan run out of road. Act 2 has a shape inside it. I think of it as 2 halves. Act 2A, the first half. Your protagonist is pursuing their goal with a plan. It is not working perfectly, but they have a theory, a direction, a sense of agency. They're making progress, or what looks like progress. Red herrings are convincing. Wrong leads feel right. The protagonist's flaw is showing up but not yet costing them catastrophically. The midpoint of Act 2 is a false victory or a false defeat. Something happens that makes the protagonist and the reader think the end is near. It isn't. But the story pivots here. Act 2B, the second half. Everything gets harder. The protagonist's plan falls apart. Their flaw costs them something real. A relationship, a lead, a piece of evidence, a person's trust. The antagonist is winning. The protagonist is losing ground. Act 2 ends at the dark night of the soul, the lowest point. The protagonist has everything they need to solve the problem, but they can't see it yet. They have failed. They believe they cannot win. The reader isn't sure they can either. This moment is the emotional core of the entire story. If you rush it, the resolution will feel unearned. If you build it properly, the breakthrough that follows will feel like a release of pressure that has been building for 200 pages. Act 3 is the shortest section and the most satisfying. If Acts 1 and 2 were built correctly, it has 3 beats. The breakthrough. Something small. A detail seen fresh, a connection finally made. A piece of information that reframes everything, unlocks the answer. This moment must feel earned, not coincidental. It was planted in Act 1 or early Act 2. The reader should think. Of course, it was there the whole time. The confrontation. Your protagonist faces the source of the conflict. The antagonist, the truth themselves. This scene is the emotional climax of the book. The protagonist uses everything they've learned, including the internal change they've undergone, to resolve the conflict. The resolution. The world settles, the protagonist has changed. They got what they needed, even if it is not exactly what they wanted. A quiet final image that echoes the opening, showing us how far we've come. Here is how to use this right now. Whatever you are writing, answer these 3 questions before you write Chapter 1. 1. What is my inciting incident? The specific event that breaks open the normal world and pulls my protagonist into the story. 2. What is my dark night of the soul? The lowest point where everything has gone wrong and the protagonist cannot see the way forward. 3. What is my breakthrough moment? The single detail or realization that unlocks the resolution. How? Why 2, 4. When you know those 3 points, you have the spine of your story. Everything else, the scenes, the characters, the dialogue, hangs on that spine. You don't need to outline every chapter before you start. But you need to know where you are going, because the writers who finish their books are the ones who had a destination. Structure isn't a formula. It is the reason your reader turns the page at midnight even though they have work tomorrow. Learn it, use it. Then forget it while you write, and come back to it when something feels off. Next week, we're going genre specific. We're going to break down exactly how mystery novels are structured, why the genre has rules that other genres don't, and what the writers who do it best all understand about building a case the reader can't solve until you want them to. Subscribe, and I'll see you then.